Once a year, for only a few minutes, something astonishing happens in the heart of Egypt. At Karnak Temple, one of the grandest monuments ever built, a beam of sunlight strikes a hidden doorway with surgical precision. The alignment is perfect, intentional, mysterious, and for centuries no one noticed. But now, thanks to modern archaeology and high-tech imaging, we've uncovered a stunning celestial secret embedded deep within the temple's ancient stones. A doorway that answers to the heavens. But why?
Let's go back 4,000 years, when gods walked among men and the sun was more than just a source of light. It was the divine eye of Ra. Every rising dawn, a ritual. Every ray, a message. The ancients didn't merely worship the sun, they designed their entire world around it. And Karnak was the beating heart of that belief. Spanning over 200 acres, Karnak is not just one temple. It's a sprawling complex, a forest of pylons, columns, sanctuaries, and obelisks. It evolved over 1,500 years, expanded by pharaoh after pharaoh in a divine architectural relay. But amid the grandeur lies something far subtler and infinitely more precise. In 2023, a team of Egyptologists led by Dr. Rosario Pinter discovered that a previously overlooked doorway in the Temple of Ptah aligns perfectly with the sun on just one specific day, the winter solstice, December 21st, the shortest day of the year, the moment when darkness begins to yield to light. That's when the temple, silent and shadowed, is suddenly pierced by a single shaft of golden fire, illuminating the entrance for mere moments before fading again into the shadows. Was it a coincidence? Not a chance. This solar alignment is just one piece of a far larger cosmic puzzle. We've known for decades that the Temple of Amun-Re at Karnak has its own solar alignment. On the summer solstice, the sun rises along the temple's main axis, sending rays blazing through the hypostyle hall in a breathtaking moment of architectural theater. But now, we understand something even more thrilling. Karnak's builders didn't align just one temple with the sun. They embedded multiple solar events into its design, forming a living calendar of stone, a cosmic observatory for gods and kings. And here's where things get truly intriguing. This newly discovered doorway, once thought to be simply ornamental, is aligned not with the summer sun, but with its winter twin. In other words, Karnak doesn't just celebrate light, it honors the return of it, the rebirth, a cycle of death and renewal. But why hide this in the Temple of Ptah? Ptah was no ordinary god. In ancient mythology, he was the divine craftsman, the one who imagined the world into existence. He spoke, and the cosmos obeyed. To place a solar marker in his temple is a symbolic masterstroke. It's not just an homage to the sun, it's a declaration of creation itself. Imagine standing there in the chill of a December morning, surrounded by millennia of stone. Suddenly, the light floods in. Not just anywhere, but there, where a door stands waiting, as if for the sun's approval. You are not simply in a temple. You are in the presence of celestial design. And the implications go beyond religion. Archaeologists now believe that ancient Egyptian architects used a combination of stellar and solar alignments to lay out their most sacred sites. They didn't just build temples, they engineered experiences. The Temple of Abu Simbel is perhaps the most famous example. Twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, the sun penetrates the inner sanctum to illuminate the seated statues of Ramses II, except for one. The statue of Ptah, the god of the underworld, remains forever in shadow. These alignments weren't errors, they were metaphors, encoded in architecture. And now, Karnak joins that elite club of solar marvels. But there's a deeper question still. How did they do it? Without satellites, without GPS, without modern measuring tools, how did the ancient Egyptians achieve this kind of astronomical precision? The answer may lie in a combination of ground-level ingenuity and skyward obsession. Recent excavations suggest they used long sight lines, leveled causeways, and horizon tracking techniques, perhaps even rudimentary gnomons, to map the sun's yearly arc. Over years, even decades, they would have recorded the solar movement and then embedded that knowledge into the construction. They were building not just for space, but for time. And now we're finally catching up. High-resolution satellite imagery, 3D laser scans, and sun-tracking simulations are revealing what the ancients knew all along. The temples were built not just to house gods, but to interact with the cosmos. Every wall, every corridor, every door was part of a script, a sacred choreography between light and stone. But the discovery at Karnak raises another tantalizing possibility. If this doorway aligns with the winter solstice, what else have we missed? How many more architectural keys lie hidden in plain sight, waiting for the sun to unlock them? Could other temples, Dendera, Edfu, even the Great Pyramid, harbor undiscovered alignments that activate only on specific days of the year? And if so, what were these events meant to trigger? Were they rituals, initiations, messages to the gods, or messages from them? The answer may still lie buried beneath centuries of sand and stone, but one thing is now certain. Karnak's architects were not simply stonemasons. They were astronomers, storytellers, and the temple itself is a message written in light. Each year, when the solstice sun slips through that sacred door, it speaks again, in the same language, to the same rhythm, across thousands of years. We just had to learn how to listen. So next time you think of ancient Egypt, don't picture a static world of dusty ruins. Picture a civilization that could speak to the stars and carve that speech into stone. Aligning a temple door with the sun might seem extraordinary, but in Egypt, that's just the beginning. Because buried beneath the sands of Abydos lies a site that defies not just expectations, but logic itself. The Osirian isn't just mysterious. It hints at hydraulic technology that, by all accounts, shouldn't exist in ancient Egypt.
Here we are at the Osirian, possibly one of the most impressive sites in Egypt, possibly the world. This is officially dated to the time of Seti I, which would have been completely roofed over, thousands of tons of stone in this whole construction, and it really is something to behold.
Hidden deep in the desert sands of Abydos, approximately 350 miles south of the Great Pyramid of Giza, stands the Osirian, a monumental structure shrouded in mystery. Its origins, purpose, and design have baffled archaeologists and researchers for decades. Unlike the well-known temples of ancient Egypt, the Osirian defies traditional pharaonic architectural norms, leading some to believe it could be the product of a much older, technologically advanced civilization. Could this ancient structure hold the key to a forgotten chapter of human history? The first puzzle presented by the Osirian lies in its striking architectural divergence from typical Egyptian temples. While most temples of the pharaonic era adhere to a linear rectangular layout, the Osirian's design breaks the mold with its unique L-shaped configuration. This anomaly alone raises critical questions about the intentions behind its construction. Was it built for a different purpose than Egypt's standard religious edifices? Or does it reflect the architectural style of an unknown, perhaps much older culture? Adding to the mystery is the Osirian's relationship with the nearby temple of Seti Prayus, built during the 19th dynasty. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Osirian predates the temple of Seti Ras by centuries, if not millennia, implying that the site held significant importance long before the reign of Seti. This ancient structure was already in place when Seti chose to build his temple beside it, as though honoring an ancient relic from a bygone era. What made the Osirian so significant, and why did it attract the attention of the Egyptian kings? The sheer scale of the Osirian is awe-inspiring. The core of the structure is composed of massive rose granite blocks, some of which weigh an astonishing 100 tons. These immense stones were quarried from Aswan, located over 200 miles to the south, a logistical challenge that seems insurmountable given the tools and technology traditionally attributed to the Egyptians of the time. Moving these massive blocks across hundreds of miles of desert, and then precisely positioning them in a desert location far from the Nile, is a feat that defies explanation. Without evidence of advanced machinery, how were these massive stones transported and assembled with such precision? The Osirians' architecture, featuring a sophisticated double-layered roofing system and interlocking wedges, suggests a level of engineering knowledge far beyond what ancient Egypt is known to have possessed. The use of granite, a hard and unforgiving material, only adds to the mystery. Working with granite requires advanced tools and knowledge, skills that, according to historical records, the Egyptians had not yet developed during the early dynastic periods. Another striking feature of the Osirian is its complete lack of Egyptian hieroglyphs or artwork. In contrast to nearly every other Egyptian temple or monument, which are richly decorated with carvings, inscriptions, and illustrations, the Osirian is eerily bare. Throughout Egypt's history, temples were frequently renovated, with each generation adding new inscriptions and artwork. Even more unusual is the Osirian's subterranean layout, which is highly uncharacteristic of Egyptian temple architecture. The entire structure lies 15 feet below ground level, leading some researchers to propose that the temple could be far older than its surrounding counterparts. The idea that it predates the buildup of sand and soil that has accumulated over millennia suggests a timeline stretching back to an era before the sands of Egypt's desert even existed in their current form. Water erosion patterns found on the limestone enclosure surrounding the Osirian add yet another layer to the mystery. Some researchers argue that these erosion marks could only have been caused by a much wetter climate, possibly dating the structure back to the end of the last ice age, when the region experienced more rainfall. If true, this would place the Osirian's construction over 10,000 years ago, far earlier than the dynastic Egyptian civilization. Perhaps the most intriguing feature of the Osirian is the presence of water within the structure itself. Modern seismic technology has revealed that the visible portion of the Osirian is only the uppermost part of a much larger complex, which extends at least 50 feet below the current floor level. Beneath the surface, seismic tests have indicated the presence of hollow chambers, which have yet to be explored due to the water that continually fills the site. Despite multiple attempts, archaeologists have been unable to drain the water, which seems to replenish at an alarming rate. The source of this water remains unknown, and its continuous flow presents a baffling enigma. Some researchers suggest that the Osirian's complex hydraulic system, which includes channels, basins, and possibly sluices, was designed to control and manipulate water flow within the structure. The precision of these features points to an advanced understanding of hydraulic engineering, something not typically associated with ancient Egyptian technology. While the Egyptians were known for their use of irrigation canals and basins for agriculture, the Osirians' water management techniques are far more sophisticated. The mysteries of the Osirian continue to deepen as researchers attempt to unlock its secrets. The constant replenishment of water within the structure defies explanation. James Westerman, a renowned archaeologist and historian, has spent decades studying the Osirian. His efforts to pump out the water from the structure have been met with frustration. Even with a pump capable of removing 500 gallons of water per minute, the water level continues to rise, seemingly replenishing itself faster than it can be removed. Westerman's words capture the perplexity of the situation. Water is emerging from inside the structure. This shouldn't be happening, especially in the desert. Something strange is going on here. In 2023, Westerman's team employed advanced technology to analyze the water within the Osirian, measuring its pressure, temperature, conductivity, and chemical composition. The results were astounding. The water in the Osirian was found to have a unique chemical profile, different from the surrounding wells and aquifers in the area. Westermann's research suggested that the water was being forced up through the structure, almost as though it were being propelled by some unknown force. The water's chemical composition and isotopic profile indicated that it did not originate from the nearby Nile River or local aquifers. Where, then, is this water coming from? The Osirian's water behaves more like that of a geyser, but without the typical signs of volcanic activity. Is there an underground spring or reservoir beneath the structure, or could the water be flowing from a deeper, as yet undiscovered source? One of the most intriguing aspects of the water is its unique properties. Westermann conducted hydrologic studies and found that the water within the Osirian was drinkable after filtration. Over time, Westermann began drinking the water regularly, and he noticed something extraordinary. His eyesight began to improve. A lifelong sufferer of nearsightedness, Westermann eventually no longer needed glasses, a fact that was confirmed by an eye test. Could the water from the Osirian possess healing properties? Westermann believes so and continues to drink the water, attributing his improved vision to its mysterious qualities. Yet another anomaly is the temperature of the water. The water outside the Osirian measures a consistent 16.9 degrees Celsius, but the water inside the structure is significantly warmer, measuring 23.8 degrees Celsius. This temperature difference defies the second law of thermodynamics, which states that heat cannot spontaneously transfer from a cooler to a warmer body. Something within the Osirian is heating the water, but no one knows what it is or how it is happening. As researchers continue to study the Osirian, its true scale and purpose remain elusive. What is visible today may only be the tip of the iceberg. The structure extends far beneath the surface, with hidden chambers still unexplored due to the constant flow of water. Could these underground chambers hold more secrets about the origins of the Osirian and its builders? As we probe deeper into the Osirian's mysteries, we are left with more questions than answers. One thing is certain: this ancient structure is far older and more complex than we ever imagined, and it may hold the key to understanding a lost chapter of human history. If you were captivated by today's video, then you're absolutely going to love our next adventure. We're diving even deeper into the mysteries of ancient Egypt, with Egyptologists discovered an ancient tunnel revealing tombs and something you'd never expect. Beneath Giza's sands, a groundbreaking discovery rewrites ancient Egyptian history. Egyptologists unearthed a water-filled tunnel, the Osiris Shaft, predating the pyramids. What secrets does this ancient passage hold? What unexpected wonders lie within?
There's something called the Osiris Shaft, which is located directly under the causeway between the Sphinx and the second pyramid. It goes about 100 feet underground. It's carved out of the limestone bedrock. It's the creepiest place I've ever been in my life. It's disturbing. So it's 3 different shafts, and you go down, and here's where it gets, this is the crazy part. When you get to the 3rd level, which is completely dark and freaky, there was a side tunnel. Zahi Hawass himself, there was a documentary, went down there, and he's standing in front of this tunnel that went sideways, and he says, it's yet to be explored, and I don't know what's down there, but Joe, they've since sealed it up. It's like cinder blocks, they sealed it up.
What?
Yes! There are things that have gone underground in Egypt that, for whatever reason, Joe, is just off limits to the public.